South Jersey bad boys. Right into it. Hot.
Coming in hot. Oh, yeah. We are coming off. We needed a bit of time to mourn the Eagles loss. Really unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
Turn of events, but that didn't stop us from going out and rioting over in Pennsauken, right? I mean, somebody had to do it.
Yep. Yeah, it was a tough way to lose the Super Bowl on a false penalty.
Yeah.
But, Eagles fans will bounce back and, we'll be miserable at the start of the next season.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, that's how it works. Phillies are already getting going. So, we got a lot to look forward to, and the Sixers will probably lose in the NBA Finals. So let's make it 4.
Yeah.
Let's make it 4. If we're going to go all in on this, Philadelphia is the first city to lose 3 championships in 99 days.
Hey.
The MLS.
Breaking records left and right.
The MLS and then the Phillies and then, the Union Phillies and then Eagles. So why not do a 4-peat? Sixers.
Let's do it.
Sixers, I'm going to call it now. Sixers are going to lose in 6 in the NBA Finals.
I went to the Sixers game last week against the Rockets. We did win. I mean, the Rockets fucking stink.
They got Tracy McGrady still. Is he out there in a wheelchair?
No, I think they could use him. They could definitely use him at this point. I bet you he could still help him out. But we even still with the win, we look like shit. Like, dude, Joel Embiid, he just was barely trying. Yeah. James Harden's just doing the same old bullshit where he's just running into people trying to draw a foul. It was kind of driving me crazy.
God, the NBA, what a time. Yao Ming needs to get back out there and just start decking people.
Yeah, we need a good 7-6er that's just,
Let's bring Yao Ming out of retirement, Dikembe Mutombo, all of the people that should not be over 7 feet 4 inches tall.
I wonder what Yao's up to.
He's probably like building houses in China for the needy or something.
Yeah.
He seemed like a good guy, genuine stand-up guy. Him and Jeremy Lin are just like doing the Lord's work,
Yeah, I don't know if they come from this. I'm pretty sure Jeremy Lin is American.
Oh,
I think Yao Ming was from Yao.
Wow.
I think he's from China.
Yeah, whoopsie daisy.
But yeah, he's probably building houses, doesn't even need a ladder.
He's like the Jimmy Carter of the Asian community. And
in what way?
Building houses. Jimmy Carter was a big Habitat for Humanity guy. They had pictures of him out. I only saw it recently because now he's in hospice care, and I didn't choose him for my celebrity death pool.
Jay Carter's still alive?
Yeah, he's in hospice though. That was the news this past week. I had him on my death pool last year, and this year I substituted him for his wife. So I'm hoping it's one of those situations where they once one goes, the other one goes 3 days later.
Yeah.
Like older people, you ever see those heartwarming stories about these people that were married for 72 years and they just went within hours of each other? I would hate to see it, but it'd help my bragging rights death pool that on Facebook that I have. So we'll see what happens.
There you go. It reminds me of I just started watching that show, The Last of Us. Do you watch that?
No, I was gonna ask you. We should get into a segment about what we're watching. Does Last of Us
okay. That's a good idea. So yeah, I just hopped on that. There's only 4 episodes.
Okay.
4 or 5. Mm-hmm. And it's a zombie show. On HBO.
Is it?
But Nick Offerman, from Parks and Rec, is in one of the episodes.
Oh, sweet.
And
has he got the stash?
He has a full beard.
Oh, yeah.
So he's honestly pretty similarly, has a lot of similar characteristics to what he normally plays.
Oh, okay.
But I can't really say much without giving it away. But that's one that I'm on right now. That it's really good. It's definitely little fucked up, a little sad at times.
Sounds like I'm going to be into it then.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's definitely giving me some vibes of, God, what is it called? Walking Dead.
Oh, okay.
A little bit. But it, I don't know.
Like a post-apocalyptic nightscape or hellscape out in the streets there.
I think it's based off of a video game. I'm not sure which one. But I'm pretty sure that the entire thing is based off of a video game. But yeah, it's good so far. It's 4 episodes in. It's definitely a little dark, but it's got some good,
nice
tension that they build up.
Let's get into the stuff that we've been watching after we give a call to our over-the-phone guest.
We could get Jad out of the way because we want to make sure we catch him before his show.
Yeah, we hate to have left a lot of folks on the last episode. I think this is episode 36. I know we blue-balled a lot of you people by starting off with what can you do? Comics, we got shows in between mics. We weren't able to connect with Jad. We did for a hot second, but this time he's got
the Super Bowl.
And the Super Bowl. It's a whole
brief
thing.
hiatus.
Yeah, so we apologize for any blue balling that was done. We let it up with being fired for comedy. So we're going to give Jad, a local Philadelphia-based comedian, a call right now. Have him tell his story because it's quite insane.
I'd really love to hear from him on this.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna call him. I told him we were gonna call him. I'll just have him get right into it. Let him know he's on the program and see what he's got to say for himself here.
Bad the Jad. Can't think of anything else.
Hello?
Hey, Jad, it's Dan. Oh,
Did we lose him?
no, I got him there. Hey, Jad, are you able to hear me? Okay, here, one sec. I'm just setting you up with my thing here. Somehow it's not coming through. Hold on one sec here.
Sorry.
Okay, there we go. Now we got you. We just wanted to make sure you got you through our headphones here.
All right.
Oh, all right. So we're recording. We got you on here. We're not live or anything, but if you want to, since I know you got a show here in 15 minutes, we kind of laid the groundwork of what's been going on. So we kind of wanted to see if you just like lay out what was going on there and see what's been happening.
Oh no, we're setting up chairs. Let me step outside.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, dude, I got fucking struck down.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, what basically happened is, like a few weeks ago, I've been doing stand-up forever, and my boss and everybody knew. And but then, like a few weeks ago, I just get called into this meeting with like no warning, no nothing. Nobody knows what it is. Somebody's like, "Yo, you should call the union. This seems bad." So we show up in this meeting, and it's just like fucking. It's like a Bolshevik execution, dude. It's just like my crimes were read, and then they were like, "You're fired."
What?
It was wild. There was like no discussion, no warning, no nothing.
So Jad, when you went in there, did they like bring up like clips or tweets and stuff, and they're like, "This is like,"
no.
Is that what they were doing, or they're just saying in general, we can't have you work here anymore because of you doing stand up? We're like, what did they say?
They in that first meeting, they said nothing, dude. They just said like, you broke values, you fucking.
Did they say
ISIS
how?
Motherfucker. No, I mean, no, it was super vague. And then I found out later from the union guy, he was like, "Oh, it's because of your reels on IG." And
how is he getting the information? Like they're just like they're just kind of telling shit.
Well, he's the union rep, so if you fire a guy, the union's gonna call you up.
Gotcha.
What's going on?
Right.
Man.
Yeah.
That does sound exactly like you said, just like they laid out your crimes and just like their decision was already made on what was going to be done there. There was nothing you could say back to them of like, well, like, what was it? I could like, it's insane that like it comes to that because like you said in a post you made online, which I saw, because we're, friends on the socials or whatever, but like, it's crazy that like what you're doing, it's not like you're just screaming obscenities and slurs into a microphone. Like you were actually performing as, a lot of people hate saying it, but it is an art form and people were laughing. So like you were accomplishing the goal. And
what you do in your free time should be your business. It's also wild to me that they gave you no warning. Like, why can't they just have a discussion and go, "Hey, look, this has been brought to our attention. This might violate," and talk to you about it first and give you a chance to even have a decision. Like, I would assume most likely you probably would have continued to do stand-up anyways, but why not even give you a chance?
I don't know. I mean, in fairness to them, I don't post the clips where I'm dropping the N-word talking about Trump won. Because they'll make it to the edge.
That's in private.
Yeah. That's in private. I keep that offline.
You save those for the private gigs at the country clubs. Yeah, that's...
No, it was wild. I mean, it's just kind of like, they're like extremists, dude. I know extremists, dude. I worked in all these fucking countries. These guys, they're all the same. If you're like too much of anything,
you're too much of a risk that they're like, let's just cut them.
Wild.
Well, I think for them, it's like just the way they see the world. It's like,
yeah,
they're very ideological people, some of these guys. And so it's like, it's the same thing as like super religious people.
Yeah.
You can be like, they just become like dogmatic, and it's like almost a good versus evil type thing. Like in their minds, they're like completely righteous. They don't see anything wrong with what they did.
Yeah.
Damn. So what is like, are you like still talking with union people? Like what would be like the outcome, like your desired outcome of this situation, or like what is your like next move here?
Dude, I'm trying to get my job back and walk in like fucking Vince McMahon, dude.
Yeah. Is there any recourse that you can take?
Yeah, we're
to
doing
fight this?
it now. So yeah, the union's fighting it now because everyone's pissed.
Yeah.
Because they're basically, this whole thing kind of like destroys the union contracts. You can just fire somebody for like values. Like it kind of means you can fire somebody for anything.
And what are their their values that they're claiming you're even violating?
Well, I forgot to
think
even.
It's like
I forgot
Islamic
to even
law or something.
Islamic law. Is that what you said?
Sharia. Yeah.
Oh, oh shit. Well, I didn't even ask you to even lay out. I mean, we know from just looking at the post. If you don't want to say like who it's actually with, like, would you at least like describe like where you work at so people can like get a handle?
Oh,
on, like...
no. Yeah, people know. It's it's WHYY. It's the public radio station, the NPR station in Philadelphia.
Okay.
But what do they mean Islamic values that you're violating?
No, I'm just making a joke that they're the Taliban.
Oh! I was going to say.
I thought you were saying that you were referencing some sort of Islamic values that they don't like. They're not with.
No,
I'm
they're
like, wait a
listen,
second.
They're
That's
like, Jad, you're
worse.
an enemy of Islam.
Oh my! that is crazy, and you're a veteran too.
Yeah.
So that alone, just saying that they fired somebody that like meets those, like you have that. Like that's who you are as a person, and they fired somebody like that for making jokes about your life. Like it's insane.
Also, how well are your reels even doing that this is even a concern? Like, are they getting millions of views on these?
I mean,
I wish, dude. That's the thing. Somebody was like, somebody was interviewing me, and they're like, "Do you think this is like a cancel culture?" I was like, "You can't get canceled from bar shows, dude. I'm doing bad. I'm doing very bad."
That's even worse. That it's like it's like not even a concern. That it's crazy that they're even
got somebody at WHYY that's got a burner account that's one of the 7,000 views on a video, and it's just like holy shit, there's people watching this.
That's so fucked up, dude. Like Dan and I were talking about this last week, and I'm like, if somebody is in, not that I'm comparing stand up to this in terms of similarities, but like let's say for a hobby you're in a screamo band on the side and you do it on the weekends and whatever, and like obviously maybe that's not your boss's taste in music, but that they could come in and fire you because you go, that's against our fucking values. It's like, well, you can't do that for fun. Like that, how is like that's not just your business what you do outside of work? Like it just seems crazy to me.
I mean, that's the thing that a lot of the union folks, it's an NPR station. It's pretty like woke people that work there. I'm not going to assume that they're particularly like fans of stand-up or my stand-up in particular, but they're all creative people. So they all have like side shit. So the point they were making is, are you going to go through like all of our like lyrics, or if I put together like a one-man show, is that going to have to be like the censors at WHYY are going to have to go through it?
Yeah.
But what was so disheartening is like, the reactions I would get online. Most people were supportive, but then you'd have people that are just like very smug about like, well, what did you think was going to happen? Like they act like I forgot to move my car, and it's like, it's guys like that make me think China needs to win. They're just begging to be subjugated. It's like you really don't give a shit about like freedom of expression at all. Do you think
exactly,
you
dude. I
like what is that? It's like this is what you get. Like what is this that you're? Dude, what point are you trying to prove?
That type of stuff is usually coming from people that have never done one thing close to anything creative as doing a 5-minute set about your own life and making strangers laugh about it. That like people on the internet I'm talking about that are making comments like that, like what did you expect type of thing. Like usually those people have never come close to doing anything. Not that you, me, or Jad or any top of the comedy game right now, but we're at least doing something and have go out and do sets and do material. Like it takes a lot of balls to just start doing it. So like it's just crazy that people on the internet and see why.
But I think it's almost even more offensive, but the fact that none of us are well-known comedians, and that we're the ones that are not obviously you and I in this situation, but Jad unfortunately being a victim of somebody who gets in trouble for this, where it's like we're not even the ones that people are really listening to. It's not like we have millions of views on our stuff and we're getting in trouble for what we do in our spare time, and for that a company can come in and That's just so absurd to me.
Yeah.
I think what they don't understand is because they'll see like, big comics doing like offensive shit and getting laughs. And what they don't understand is like those comics have an audience.
Yeah.
There's people who want to go see those guys. We're performing for drunk strangers.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can't go fuck it. Like the laughter is proof that most reasonable people find this okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I don't have like a hardcore, Jad heads showing up fucking chugging beers or whatever. It's just regular dudes.
Yeah,
exactly. And I've seen, you at open mics plenty of times. We've crossed a lot of paths, and I've seen a lot of your different material. You do different stuff at different mics all the time. We haven't been on like a showcase paid show or anything like that, but I've seen your material enough in a lot of different types of it, or different bits that you've done. Not once did I ever know or have an inclination that you worked at WHYY. So like, what are they so afraid or worried about?
That's what I was going to ask, Jet. Like, what was your actual role that they could even claim that it was a conflict of interest?
Well, the thing is, that's the thing I brought up to them is so they said in their rationale, like we had another meeting where like after with the union back, this is where like two white ladies called me a racist, which was incredible.
Wow. Oh my God.
And also an anti-Semite. It was wild.
Oh my God.
I was like, dude.
Yeah, Jad the racist.
You forgot Frankenstein. You forgot to call me fucking Dracula, dude. What else?
Right.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. So what else happened with them?
But they were like, basically, they say that somebody within the company who is not like probably not a union guy, probably like just some office worker, saw one of my reels and recognized me just because they know my face. So nobody made the connection like from my comedy from the outside. If somebody worked there, made the connection, saw my face, was like, hey, this is a guy, and brought it up to management. So the point I made to them was like, well, hey, I've been doing this years and no one has noticed, and it's just somebody internal. That means that like nobody actually connected, no audience, ever connected that I work here. But their rationale was like, what if somebody did? That's why we have to like can you immediately, which I think. I don't know, boys. I'm like optimistic. I think we're going to fight this and win just because their position makes no sense.
And I hope you do. But what was your title, though? Like, what was the role itself?
Oh, I was a reporter.
Okay.
So it sounds like you at least have a good relationship, you said before, with your boss and like your direct superior and other people you work with, though, right?
Yeah, these are just the people that have a problem are like they're like suits.
Yeah,
so
like,
I still don't even understand where it's like, why can't you just like, obviously you're in the context of stand-up where it's pretty clear and obvious that stand-up comedy is, it's that you're there to tell jokes. So why can't people just identify that as separately, where it's like you're a reporter, that's what you do for work, and then when you're doing stand-up comedy, you're there to do jokes, just as if you were going to go to a fucking poetry reading, you're doing poetry, you're going to play in a band, you're there to play music. It's like, why is it so difficult to see those things as separate?
Yeah,
I think if you're like very ideologically extreme, which these people are, you can't separate like what people say from like their beliefs and like their true core selves.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So people like that, when they watch stand-up, it's whole predicated on like you kind of put people in like an uncomfortable situation and then you release it, and that's kind of when people laugh. But these guys, they're so like their own beliefs are so a big part of who they are, like that they can't even conceive that someone's saying something because it's funny.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Not because like, I think this is an absolutely true thing.
Exactly.
This is like my position on this.
And
they can't conceive of it.
Yeah, and a lot of it is they see somebody just talking into a microphone. A lot of people can't see past the fact of like, it's just talking into a microphone and like they're saying stuff like it. I think a lot of people just can't move past it. Like there is a lot of work that goes into it, a lot of practice. You got to figure a lot of it out, as opposed to somebody that, like you were saying, Brendan, someone's in a band. Like, it's like, that's like a performance. A lot of people just see stand-up as like, you're talking into a microphone, just saying wild shit. I can do the same thing, but like there's a difference between getting laughs from it and then people that think they can do it usually don't.
Right. And just assuming that like, hey, everything that you say up there, you're saying is completely what you believe and is your truth, as if there's, you can't be up there, exaggerating to any extent to get laugh, which, is obviously so much of stand-up. It's just to me, I'm just like, dude, are we not all fucking adults? Can't we just sit down and have a discuss? Like it's just it's so stupid.
Oh, well,
yes. But speaking of telling jokes and people not laughing, it is about showtime, boys. So I was
gonna say,
on, dude.
we just saw that. Thanks for taking the call this time, and
good luck, dude.
You have a good show, and we will be seeing you around the scene.
All right, appreciate you, boys. Thank you.
Absolutely, we'll see you. Dude, that's fucking.
It's really
crazy.
interesting, man.
It is, because it's like people getting fired for telling jokes. I think a lot of it, like he said, it's suits. It's people in suits that are just like, this doesn't align with our HR packet that we handed out. And it's like, well, he's not doing that to people in the office. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people that work at a lot of companies that have violated the company handbook on multiple occasions, but because they didn't tell jokes to people that made people laugh and you posted it on the internet that had no connection to your company whatsoever, they don't get in trouble for it, but he does. Like, it's just...
Yeah, and also... You know, from what it sounded like, there was just one random dude who worked for WHYY who noticed that he did stand up. It's not like he was becoming incompetent at his job or people were complaining that it was somehow interfering with his work.
Yeah,
I don't even understand how they're brought into the same conversation. Like, they're just so completely in this scenario, they're so completely separate. It's not even like somehow his stand up interfered with, you know, because he got so famous or whatever. Like, it's none of that. It's just like, hey, somebody noticed that you do stand up, and whether they liked it or not, just the fact that they noticed, we're gonna have to cut ties with you.
Yeah. Hey, Larry in IT saw that you were doing stand up online because he saw your name on a employee roster sheet, and then he looked you up, and then he looked at your Instagram, went to your reel, scroll down. He saw a joke where you referred to so and so as something. So, like, because of that, we're gonna have to. It's just I hope, because it sounds like he's getting it figured out with union reps. I hope because he has a good relationship with the people he works with, his boss, like directly, that he can just walk back into a corporate headquarters, just walk in, just fucking dick rock hard, just like, hello everybody, like the guy in the Viagra commercials that was waving to his neighbors. Oh, I would love for him to do that.
I also don't understand why they couldn't have just had one discussion with him before just completely cutting him loose, you know, cold like that. Like, why not sit down and have a meeting and go, look, this has been brought to our attention. You know, we think this is a concern because of X, Y, a concern because of X, Y, and Z. And at the very least, not that I think that this would be right either, but give them an opportunity to go, look, like, if you continue to pursue this, we might have to rethink, like, whether or not we can keep you here. Yeah. And then maybe he'd be like, oh, you know what? It's not worth it to me. I really need this job.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's a dude's livelihood. Yeah. Well, why not at least just have a discussion with him about it? That sort of shit also blows my mind.
It's wild. I personally have been fortunate enough to the jobs that I have had. Direct superiors, people at the company have known that I have done stand-up. It's never become an issue. I've never let it interfere with work. And on the back end of that, I don't also talk about work on stage. I don't disparage employees. I don't shit on the owner of the company, all of that type of stuff. But, like, I always wonder, like, what if something like this were to happen to me? Would I be like, hey, like, if somebody were to be like, oh, you're going to lose your job if you don't delete your stuff? Because as much as Louis C.K. and Dave Chappelle give the middle finger to anybody, they can, because they're millionaires. Now,
we're in a much different situation where it's like, look, like, we have nothing to fall back on.
That's the thing. Like, if you were pressed with his type of situation and they gave you the option, like, delete all this shit off the internet, like, what would you, like, hypothetically, of course, what would you
can't you're right, like, you're like, I have a baby on the way. It's like, we're not in that position where it's like, you know, we've had such a successful career where you can just hold the middle finger to these people and go, you know what, I'm gonna hold out for my artistic rights. As much as you'd love to do that, you have to also weigh in and take into consideration putting food on the table for yourself and for your family. And a lot of people don't have that luxury to be so, I don't know, to even be able to stand up for yourselves at times because you're so reliant on employment because the economy's fucked.
And that's why there's some people that, like, we were talking about the Louis C.K. thing before, where, like, he's able to do it, and Jad mentioned it too. He has a fan base. He has people that are willing to pay to see him in one form or another, either in person, online, live streaming. He can at least do something and come back from it. Now, if you're doing something on the level that Cosby did, you're probably going to lose most of your supporters, like he did. Right. But Louis, a lot of people stuck by him, and he's able to make a comeback, and his comeback has been huge. He just sold out the Garden again. Like, it's wild. Whether you agree with that or not, he had a fan base behind him. People like Jad, you and me, we're not going to have millions of people buying an online live stream of us on the stage at the Garden.
Well, yeah, he made a good point. It's like, you can't get canceled from
not
from
having
bar shows.
Yeah.
I mean, you can stop doing bar shows, but it's like it's not like we have this massive following because we're doing open mics at bars.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't even understand their concern really. Like if all of a sudden they found out that Louis C.K. is working for their company, he has this massive fan base and these people that associate him with a certain ideology, maybe they start to go, look, like people are starting to think because of your public persona, because of how much you've built in stand-up, they're starting to associate us with that because you work for us. Different conversation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And a guy who's like, look, I'm doing this for fun. I don't have,
do it for fun. It's like until you get on a stage and you say shit that makes a group of strangers laugh, you will never know what that adrenaline rush feels like and why we continue to go back to bars and tell dick jokes and fall flat on our faces just for the opportunity to possibly what we're saying might make somebody laugh and it'll just make up for all of that trauma I had as a child. And until somebody's able to do that, they shouldn't even say like, yeah, but this doesn't align with our corporate values. Like,
I just don't like that work nowadays takes such a vested interest in
what you do outside of it.
What you do outside of it.
Yeah.
It's like, why is there so few jobs where you can go into work, do your job, and when you're done, you leave it? Like you go in, and then when you're done, you leave work at work.
Yeah, and
you do what you want to do. It like God, there's so few jobs where you can have where you clock in, do your job, and just leave it, and you can leave it at work.
And the funniest thing that he said throughout that, going into what you're saying and leaving it at work, a couple of white ladies called him a racist and a anti-Semite, and it's like, I would love for these people who are saying like, oh, what you said on stage, they made people laugh and you thought it was good that you get a good reaction online from. I would love those people that you put a camera on them and hear the shit that they say outside of work or the things that they probably say during work. Like, let's look at your emails. You work for WHYY is funded by NPR. Isn't that like a taxpayer paid organization? Let's see the fucking I'm sure there's a lot of shit that don't align with corporate values. It's just insane and crazy.
Yeah.
But you know what? Going off of that, this goes right into a pretty good news story that happened recently. Are you getting into dad mode where you start watching golf tournaments?
Dude, I just started watching that on Netflix. There's this golf documentary.
I saw that. And it follows golfers around that are trying to make it pro?
I started getting, it's a lot of people that are already pro, but they're going through the PGA Tour and like just showing how competitive the sport of golf really is and how cutthroat it is, because it's like you could be at the top and you're making millions, but if you don't even make the cutoff, you're making nothing.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm getting like super interested in golf.
You know what came up when we were filming stuff here last weekend? Cody said, he's like, oh, you know how the NFL releases clips of people mic'd up, like you get to hear what they're saying on the field?
Yeah.
He's like, you should have people mic'd up at open mics. And he's like, you just go up to somebody after someone's set and being like, oh, that guy fucking sucks, huh? Like, that would be so funny. That would be
so funny. Hear all the shit that's talked, dude. There would be nothing positive that's said. It's I can't fucking stand that guy.
Yeah.
She fucking stinks.
She's like, women should be out of comedy. She's fucking terrible.
If you were mic'd up, that would be all that was said.
Oh, yeah. If you heard the things that I said to the bartenders at most of these open mics, I mean, I would definitely get fired from a job at WHYY within hours. I mean, it would be...
Why?
Yeah. So... that goes into golf. We were talking about that. You're following golfers. You know who is uncancelable at this point in the sport of golf?
Tiger Woods, y'all.
Yeah.
Did you see this?
Did you hear his recent controversy with the old Tamp?
I love it, dude. Just guys being guys, locker room talk, fucking with your boy, going, hey, guess what? I outdrove you. Here's your fucking tampon. Hilarious, dude. The GOAT. Ridiculous that he had to apologize if anybody was offended.
Yeah. And they have a picture of him handing the guy that he just outdrove.
And they're both laughing.
Oh, yeah, they're both having a good time.
Clearly friends.
They're both
Justin
having a good
Thomas,
time.
Right?
Yeah, Justin Thomas.
He's in this documentary that I'm watching.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a shame that they didn't film it after the fact. They could have been just...
Yeah.
Had that in the documentary.
Yeah, brought that up.
He's like, yeah, so I could handed this tampon. So the story, the headline here is that Tiger Woods had to apologize after he handed Justin Thomas a tampon at a golf tournament this past weekend.
Hilarious.
He outdrove him, and as they were walking, all pro golfers, you can't get a cart, you have to walk the whole course. He handed him a tampon very slightly. He didn't make this a big, and that's a total golf guy on guy move. Like,
just guy on guy, exactly how we like it on this podcast.
That's all all we're for. And although we are very big supporters of women on here, we are a women-based podcast.
Huge South Jersey feminist podcast.
Yes, we are the South Jersey bad boys, but we've had a few bad girls make their run-ins with this podcast as well. Yeah, and they get a spanking. They got a couple of rascals that get on this podcast. You can't cancel us from a podcast. It's just
That has no listeners.
Yeah, we got 128 subscribers on YouTube.
We're going to cancel you guys, so everybody that doesn't listen continues to not listen.
We're going to send this video to WHYY's headquarters, and we're going to be like, you guys should try and cancel this shit.
I dare you to cancel all 3 of our listeners.
Yeah. How pissed would general taxpayers in the state of New Jersey be if their taxpayer dollars were going towards funding this podcast? We should get a show on NPR. Wouldn't that be fun?
I bet you people would be less concerned with it going to support our podcast than what our taxes actually go to in New Jersey, which is God knows what. Just fucking paying for the penthouses of these politicians.
I looked at my taxes earlier this year. You know, they don't teach us this in school. You're just turned 30. I'm 31. We don't know what the fuck we're doing. My annual taxes in this town, which I will not name, and you could probably look up if you geolocate this podcast, it's about $7,000 a year. About 65% of that goes to the school districts, and I don't have any kids. So I'm like, what is that actually going towards? Like, how can I get a benefit of that? Somebody was sending me a house in Delaware. Almost same exact square footage as this house, almost the same price type of thing of when we bought it. I was looking at their taxes, Delaware's taxes, $1,200 for the year compared to $7,000. What the fuck are we doing in this state? State.
We always say this. I mean, like, you know, as much of South Jersey bad boys as we are, if we were not born here, we would not be fucking living here. Dude. If our entire family and friends were not established here, why would anybody choose New Jersey based upon like that economical situation?
Why would you do that to yourself? I see all these nice houses in New Jersey, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? Get a really nice house somewhere else. You can still be a bad boy. We'll still mention you. Don't pay your taxes. We'll give you an honorary golden bad boy plaque if you don't pay your taxes this year, and we're going to sign that.
Yeah, love a good, you know, white collar bad boy.
Yeah.
Tax evasion.
Tax evasion. Sounds like a nice little, what do they call the...
Careful, Dan.
Yeah, I got to really be careful. I've been slipping up quite a lot. I've had dyslexic tendencies that have caused me to use words
His dyslexic tendencies tend to sound racist, but we can assure you on this podcast, they are not.
They are not. I just have those certain words in the back of my head.
Certain words associated with his face do not look good.
They don't look good.
We can assure you he means well.
Yeah, I mean well. I have never said anything disparaging about the Polak community of South Jersey.
Careful, Dan.
Yeah. No, white racial slurs are fine.
That's true. That is fine.
I was watching a show. We'll get into those shows we've been watching. But back to Tiger. So Tiger had to apologize for handing his buddy a tampon on the golf course. Do you play golf at all? Because
I have, but no, generally I don't. Like I'm trying to get into it now, but I've played probably 6 or 7 times in my life.
Dude, I've played a lot more than that, and I still suck.
It's so hard.
It is so hard. And George Carlin said it. He was just like, why do these guys continue playing after they find their ball, they hit 300 yards? If you find it, that should be your winning thing, and you just leave there happy. Like, if you could find the ball you hit. But, like, it's all over the fucking place. There's a lot of comments like this on the golf course, though. I can't tell you the last time I've played a round where I have hit a shitty putt on the green and somebody's like, why don't you put your burst down first? Like, I mean, shit like that. Like, it wasn't like he called them a slur of some sort, or he handed them a tampon.
Honestly, all of our dads have made that joke to us during some sort of recreational sport.
That's what it is. And it's like, it's Tiger. And
it's a classic guy on guy saying, hey, stop being a pussy.
And that's what he said. He's like, it was supposed to be all fun and games. Obviously, it hasn't turned out that way.
But you know what? For who? Like, it was all fun and games between him and his friend Justin Thomas. You know, it's like, as long as he wasn't like wildly offended by it, who gives a shit?
Yeah,
are they saying it was misogynistic?
Because they're saying it was a misogynistic comment, and it's like, I'm sure there was a lot of women that were probably watching it in the background of their husbands asleep in a recliner during a family party. Like, I'm sure that was a thing. But like the one quote that got me over the edge on this entire thing, why this is even relevant. They lay out Tiger's apology here. Some on social media said the incident had sexist overtones. England's women's soccer manager told reporters it is inappropriate. I think he's realized that. England's women's soccer manager. Like, where are they finding the people on social media? Like, it's literally like 3 people that probably complain on social media about it. It's like, was anybody watching Tiger Woods? They probably didn't even show that on TV. It was a picture of him handing him the thing.
That's exactly what I was thinking before you brought up, before you said that it was the women's manager.
England's women's soccer manager.
Right.
For a golf tournament that happened in the U.S.
Yeah. So I was about to say there's nobody actually in the world that was watching that was actually offended. Like you said, there's some people online that are stirring shit up that just say stuff. And then, okay, I guess they found one person that they pointed to. But I'm like, who is actually offended that's even calling this out?
Yeah,
I think that people just see it as a hot story, and then they start to report upon it and go, people were offended. I'm like, no one was actually offended. This is just a potential thing that they can kind of go along with Tiger because of he's Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
And they can go, oh, look, this is something that he did.
Yeah, it's just such an easy thing to grandstand on. It's like, oh, like what he said there, like, he's handing him a tampon because it's making a joke. It's like there's a lot of things you could be offended by as far as like a women's rights organization goes. Take a look at like how women are treated in like 90% of the world outside of the U.S. Maybe we could start there. And the little tampon joke between the 2 guys during a men's golf tournament, maybe we just leave it to them,
Right.
Maybe, I mean, that's how I see it. We are a women-based podcast, and we support
all women and Gary Busey.
Yeah.
Unless
that Gary Busey thing
are true.
We'll take out the photo in that frame, but we innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like in Tiger Woods, going back to Jad's cancellation that he told us about. Jad is also a minority individual who's a veteran. Tiger Woods is half black, half Asian, playing in a predominantly white sport, and they have continuously tried to cancel him, and he's still banging supermodels.
You know what's great? Like that's a great point. Is a guy who's playing in the sport of golf where not that long ago they didn't even allow black players on their courses for so many of them.
Oh yeah,
like I think they talked about that in the Tiger documentary. As he was coming up, he was like, there were certain places that they just were starting to allow black people to play at. I'm like, oh my God, you forget like how racist of a sport golf was brought up to be, and that he broke down so many barriers. And then obviously, he had his scandal with all the women that he was cheating on with.
Yeah, he had his supermodel of a wife. Then he started dating that skier, and then she blew her knee out in a
blowjob accident.
Yeah. They made it seem like she fell down a hill while snowboarding, but we all know what happened.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then I don't know what he's been up to these days, but
so I was watching that documentary about these golfers, and Tiger's not featured personally, but he's in it because he's in a lot of the tournaments a lot. And you see little interactions that he has with the golfers, and it's really cool to watch. You see when he steps into or onto a lot of these courses, just the way he changes the entire environment, because everybody's like, oh, like it just adds a level of pressure because they're like, dude, fucking Tiger Woods is here.
Yeah.
And he also just seems like, and obviously I don't know him, but just from observing him in this documentary and like, seeing him on TV lately, it seems like he's just out there kind of having a good time these days. He's like, he's like smiling and laughing and playing practical jokes. Like he seems like he's just in a different place where he's like, I don't know, a lot more loose.
Yeah, dude. And he
just let go of some of the pressure of being the greatest because he's like, look, I've done everything I can. I'm just having fun.
He's had so many injuries, and as much as I would love for him to break
he was in that serious car accident not that long ago.
Yeah, he's been in like 2 major car accidents. They pulled him over the one time, or he was asleep after he took medication, and he pulled over and was like, I know I'm not safe to drive, so he pulled over and fell asleep. They tried to turn that into him driving while mixing alcohol with medication. It's like he pulled over because he knew he shouldn't be driving after the effects started going down. They've been going after him for so long. Fun fact for you, I actually got to shake his hand while covering. I was working as an intern for the USGA at Marion outside of Philly.
Oh yeah, I've been there before.
It's an exclusive, beautiful golf club.
Very beautiful.
Very exclusive. And I was working as an intern there for the USGA because I worked with a guy there while I was in college, but they had the US Open there a few years ago. It was 2014, I think it was. And I got to work there covering social media. I was basically walking around the golf course, and they don't allow phones into that thing.
Dude, so I was just about to say, I've been there before because I used to work with a former coworker of mine who was a member there because her husband was, and she brought me there one time. Yeah. And I was walking in, and she was like, oh, you can't bring your phone in. Yeah. And I was like... Wait, what?
It was an insane golf course because out of all the people that were there for the tournament, it's a U.S. Open, it's a major. People that were there, no one had their phones on them.
And they're probably like, I don't know what to do with myself. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have your phone. And
I had my phone, and all I was doing was live tweeting from the USGA Twitter account. I was going around the golf course taking pictures of like who did what on the 18th hole, who shot this there. I found Arnold Palmer hanging out at one of the restaurants, and then that got quoted on ESPN. ESPN saw my tweet from the USGA account, and they said, "Oh, Arnold Palmer's at the Open," and they showed my picture in the tweet that I took from my phone. It was crazy.
That's so funny.
Tiger was there. That was at the time. Do you remember his controversy with Sergio Garcia, where Sergio said something about fried chicken related to Tiger Woods?
I don't really remember.
This was 9 years ago. That was the controversy all over the news during that tournament. But I got to follow Tiger around, and he had groups of people. If anyone's been to a golf tournament, you know that there is just tons of people that just follow Tiger. Everywhere else, it could be really sporadic, but like there's just waves of people following Tiger.
He's so wildly famous.
He is, and he was doing a practice round where they didn't let everybody into the practice area.
Yeah.
And I was over there just off the green taking pictures of him, posting him up there, and he was walking by and just said, "Hey, how you doing?" and it shook my hand. I got to go into the press conference after it. Seemed like a really good guy on there. I'm sure right after that he was just plowing whores. Yeah.
In that red polo, dude.
But like right
He's
now,
the
like
ultimate alpha.
to your point, at this point, he's accomplished as much as he could. Who does he have to prove anything to anybody?
No.
He could still break Jack Nicklaus's record of like however many majors. But at this point, who gives a fuck? He's playing out, getting in some cash. He's got a lot of work lined up after he retires.
He probably loves just getting out there now, just being so loose that he could fuck around with the boys. And, just have some fun out there. Dude, it reminds me of it's so funny in Parks and Rec when Ron Swanson would come in every time after he got laid, he'd come in wearing a red polo like Tiger.
Tiger shows
such a funny joke, man.
They think Tiger's showing up on Sunday wearing red and black because it's his thing, and he's just wearing it after he just fucked a group of Scandinavian whores the night before. That's why he's wearing it. Yeah.
He's got to be the most polite ladies man that's ever been out there. Like I could see him like he's just plowing whores left and right.
Oh yeah.
And then just hooking them up with like a beautiful breakfast and a car the next day and be like, I got you an Uber Black and here's a breakfast that, like, he's probably such a gentleman.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And some girl had to blow it.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Really, you blew that one, lady.
And this is a feminist podcast, so we support all those women.
Yeah, we support two things on this podcast.
Getting pussy and women.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. First and foremost, we support women and the troops, all right? This is what we're about here.
That's right. We've said that every single episode. We support the troops, we support women, we support Gary Busey.
I don't know if you guys knew this fun fact about the podcast, but before we start recording every single week, we actually say the Pledge of Allegiance. It's been a ritual of ours.
Yeah,
and
we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Yeah, of America. Yep, we do it. Usually, we got to start wearing more camo. I'm talking about camo that has the Under Armour logos made out of the deer antlers.
Yeah, because you're about that dad culture, dude.
Look at this. I'm wearing a hat with a duck on it. I don't even hunt. This is really getting serious here.
Yeah, dude, you're really leaning into it. Are you sure that Rachel's not pregnant? Because you are looking more and more like a dad.
No, I'm just a dad enthusiast.
And that could have been taken offensively. Let the record show, Rachel. This is all directed to the way Dan is dressing. Jesus Christ.
Dan, Bradley walks in, he's like, "Dan, your wife is porking it up these days, huh?"
God, about to be thrown out of this house.
Yeah, she's about to put on some LBs. Yeah.
No.
She constantly says, she's like, anytime if, Brendan's not able to make it or something, she's like, I'll sit in and do, like, she wants to get on the microphone and let it rip.
We'll have her back on as a guest. She was previously a guest.
She's been the only guest for one episode and was shitting on the handsome idiots that are now the That Rules idiots. And we'll have her on, them on, your mom, my mom. We're getting everybody on here. It's coming.
We are starting to get ready to potentially start bringing in some guests. Dan and I wanted to kind of establish ourselves first and get our rhythm down and kind of get a feel for what we want this podcast to be. But eventually, we'd like you guys to know we're going to start to have some guests and some friends on here. We'll start talking some local New Jersey stuff, have, other comedians on, and just really whoever. And we'll just start we'll start
letting it fly.
Yeah, just letting it fly and just kind of bringing in, different fan bases that way.
We did have one guy, and I'm going to play a couple of voicemails here. We'll get to some of these, but I think we did have one gentleman who was commenting about the Life Center Paul VI game on there, said he wants to come to some show. So if you're listening to this exact moment of this podcast, which means you're a dedicated fan, if you want to come to the show at Re-Up Fashion on Haddon Ave that Brendan's putting the show on. I'm going to host it on it March 9th, Thursday, March 9th at 8:00 p.m.
Yeah. In Haddon Township on Haddon Avenue.
Yes, that is going to be a banger. The first one went really well.
Go to reupfashion.com. That's where you can find the tickets.
Yes. Let's do that up. And, sir, you send us a DM, and we'll send you the link for you to buy tickets.
And that goes for anybody listening. That's going to be a really fun show. Yeah. And we're trying to make it a monthly showcase. I think there's only 15 tickets left. So it's very limited seating. So you gotta get on that if you want to get a seat at the show.
Really great time with not only this lineup, but the previous one you had as well. All local comics, all absolutely killer. You don't need to buy a $200 ticket to go see Tom Segura to have a good time at a comedy
Only
show.
20 bones.
Yeah, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic inside of a like a retro fashion type of place, right?
Yeah.
It's all like old school type of fashion.
Well, so it's a retail store, and basically what this girl Tara, who's the owner of the show, what she does is like sustainable clothing. Like she designs her own stuff, and she uses like sustainable resources, I believe.
Oh, nice. Okay.
To kind of make all these clothes, and it's just kind of a perfect space to also do an independent comedy show
at night.
So I linked up with her and her cousin Brian, who I'm friends with, and we put this together. And the first show was really successful. It was so much fun, and we had. I think that there's a big market there's a lot of people, at least that I was talking to after the show, that they're like, there's not a whole lot in South Jersey like this, and a lot of us don't feel like going over the bridge to Philly to pay for parking and have to deal with that. So they're like, this is actually really cool that there's something local here that you can go to.
And there should be. And it's surprising that there isn't. So obviously we need people to continue supporting it for it to be a thing. And so I think that March 9th on a Thursday, we're going to get this episode out in a few days. Hopefully there's still tickets left. But if not, the next one, keep it on your to-do list.
Yeah, like I said, we're going to try to get it going monthly, most likely. Yeah. So, just keep an eye out for tickets in the future.
So we've got a lot of different calls that came in. We do have one, I think, we'll get to some on the next episode, but we have our Eagles correspondent that gave us a call following the Super Bowl loss, but one of our big fans that hasn't called in a while, she's called in a few times. You might have seen her on the Instagram stories. Gave us a call here. Let's see what she's got to say.
Hey guys, I haven't called in a while. It's Erin. I just want to say your latest podcast. The last couple have been really, really good. Me and my husband are just like cracking up the whole time. I also wanted to call because that Rhinestone Raymond guy sounds like a super creep. Almost like, I don't know, that guy has victims somewhere.
Yeah.
And anyway, but other than that, you guys are doing great. We enjoy your podcast. Keep it up. This winter sucks. There's no snow. Moving from Los Angeles, I thought I'd have like winter wonderland snow, and it's just... There's no snow. It's just cold for like 2 days out of the week, and now it's like, what, 40 degrees, 50 degrees?
It was like 60. Yeah.
Anyway, I hope you guys have a good one. Look forward to the next podcast. Bye, guys.
I love her.
Oh, yeah. South Jersey, South Jersey.
Wow, just when I thought I couldn't love her anymore, she hit it with the theme song, dude.
Anything we say about the mentally ill Rhinestone Raymond and Anthony and everything, all of that stays purely, unless he proves himself wrong, we're going to keep that going. But Erin, she's just, her and her husband are absolute
they are our top fans.
Yeah.
They are our top fans.
Yeah.
And they're my favorite fans.
That's amazing. Everything you said in there is true. It has been a mild winter. I was just talking about this as a dad does. I watch the Weather Channel. I talk about the upcoming forecast with people unsolicited, just like, hey, did you see it's going to be like 65 and cloudy? It's one of those things I do.
Yeah. I wonder why it sounded like she said they moved from Los Angeles. I wonder why they decided to touch down in New Jersey just to keep the high taxes rolling.
Yeah. She wanted to get out of LA.
Feel like home.
She wanted a winter wonderland full of snow. Little did she know, South Jersey, a little bit of the snow means a little bit of a different thing. So, So if you ever need any snow during some hot weather, come on over to the basement here. As creepy as that sounds, it won't be anything close to what Rhinestone Raymond has to say.
That's right.
We're full of snow over here, no matter how hot or cold it is. That's for sure. And that's all just an absolute joke. Please don't get us fired from WHYY. I do not have 4 kilos of cocaine in my basement. I do not have.
Repeat, do not.
My lawyer told me I had to say I do not have that.
We have the Lindenwald lawyer on tap at any time. So if you guys have any questions, don't even.
And I'll extend the Lindenwald lawyers.
He's available.
He's available. Aaron, if you or your husband ever get into a sticky situation and you need some legal advice.
That sounds perverted.
From a. Well, yeah. I mean, last weekend, some of the boys we had over here, there was a bit of a sticky situation on my floor after that.
Who knows what those LA freaks are into?
Aaron, please, we need to know your story. I feel like we need to have you as your husband as a guest.
Have her call one of these days.
Yeah, we'll have to have her call. Yeah, we'll have to because we got to hear your story. What happened here
and how she found us.
And how she found out about us. She was at
found out about the bad boy. She is a true bad boy, and this is a feminist podcast. So when we say boy, that applies to everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
God,
it's a universal term.
Yes.
So I do want to get into. We got a couple others. Speaking of Rhinestone Raymond, he's called in and left us a few. We might have to get him to him in the next episode. We've had a few calls, a few things here. He had a long message. Let me get to the one where he talked about the Eagles specifically, just because we did designate him as our Eagles correspondent. So let's see what he had to say about the Eagles.
Yo, guys, what's going on? It's your boy Anthony, Eagles correspondent. Just wanted to get on here, man, and it's a very upsetting Monday after the Eagles basically came up short at the Super Bowl. Not a message that I wanted to say.
Yeah.
I was riding with them. You guys are riding with them, but it doesn't stop here. It just starts, At the end of the day, those 2 easy fucking touchdowns should have never happened. We just came up short. Didn't play good in defense. Defense was being weak. Offense started slowing down. Other than that, we got to come back strong. And starting April, I will be doing more of the Eagles corresponding.
Yeah.
So my thing starts more with you guys in spring. So I'm ready. I'm ready to keeping you guys updated.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys keep putting me on the podcast. I keep talking about the Eagles. Yeah. And more information, more news coming up, especially with draft day in April. Don't know the date yet. Got to get that information, but I will be talking about that pretty soon.
Really letting us run.
And we'll be talking about the Eagles, man. Still, it doesn't matter. It doesn't end. So April, and then all the way to preseason, then all the way to beginning.
That's how it works.
Preseason to postseason.
So, looking forward to doing that. Thank you guys for putting me on your podcast, and looking forward for more time with you guys. Thank you.
Yes. Wow, that was the most somber yet normal message we've ever gotten from Anthony. Obviously somber, coming off of Eagles Super Bowl loss, so totally understandable.
Yeah, Anthony from Virginia, not Lindenwald, from Virginia.
Right.
He has been our Eagles correspondent. We gave him that title, and he just gave himself a promotion and an extension into the next season.
He just extended his contract.
I give it to you, Anthony. That takes something. Yeah. He did it. He does it up.
You dress for the job you want.
Exactly. And what we're hoping for you to do, let's give you some homework here. As we get into the Eagles, when the preseason starts, the draft, start shit talking other fan bases. Let's rile you up. Let's get you just going at people's necks. Just let it fucking fly like you did in some of those other voicemails you left us.
Maybe what we'll do is, when the Eagles start back up again, we'll call Anthony beforehand and just kind of get a forecast on how he feels things are going to go down.
Yeah.
And we'll get kind of, his take and his predictions, because I feel like he could have some wild ones. Now, he sounds like a very optimistic fan.
He does, yes.
Which is good, because that's what, Philadelphia needs. We got a lot of negativity flying around.
Got a lot of it flying around.
We could use some positivity.
And that's what he's going to bring to us, and he's going to bring to the table. He's not like some of these whack jobs on WIP or the Fanatic or something.
Although I am friends with Joe Conklin, who's been on there a lot recently.
Yeah, so we don't want to disparage them. Some of the people that call in are whack jobs.
I would love, I was telling you this recently, I would love to see if we can get Conklin on and just kind of talk some Philly sports and get him. Dude, he has
best impressions,
the best Philadelphia impressions.
Yeah,
he has everybody.
Yeah, Does he do a really good AI practice?
Yes, he does. He does AI practice. He does Joel Embiid. He does Harry Callis. He does Charlie Manuel. Just any like famous Philadelphia.
I would love to hear him do like a Harry Callis calling a Mike Lieberthal home run.
He'll do like stuff like that. He'll do like Harry Callis fighting with Charlie Manuel.
Oh, really?
Talking about Fletcher Cox.
Holy shit.
And it's really, really good. Like he has so much Philadelphia material. It's insane.
That's incredible. I would love to ask him or talk to him about if he's ever gotten any flack being I was thinking about a white guy that does impressions of non-white people.
He's the best white guy he has the best black guy impression from a white guy that I've ever seen in my life.
Because there is a fine line between doing a hacky like Asian accent type of thing, right? And we would never do something as crass as that on this podcast, but somebody doing that, there's a big difference between that and absolutely nailing how somebody talks in their cadence, no matter what race they are.
I think that's the difference. Is his impressions are just so spot on. Then you're like, it's just he's just doing the character verbatim.
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
But dude, he's got everybody. I would love to get him on here and just like let him kind of fuck around.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
I have a gig with him, I think next weekend.
See if he wants to either call in or if that works, or a Zoom thing, or just get him to come over to the dungeon. And
I would love to see if I can get him over here. But yeah, he's killer.
He's insane, insanely good, I should say. Got a couple of news stories as well I want to get into. These are all local. Some of them are pretty hot. I want to do one that we'll end on, but I'll save one for our next podcast. You tell me which one we're going to get into. Do you want to talk about the slasher Winnie the Pooh film or a New Jersey Shore law?
Well, I think that we talked about this slasher Winnie the Pooh.
It was a letter to the editor from a 97-year-old woman of her thoughts on the movie.
Oh, yeah. I'd say let's save that one for next one and get into the New Jersey Shore law.
This one's a pretty cut and dry, simple type of thing. New Jersey Shore Town is set to impose new restrictions on drones. So there's a Jersey Shore Town, and I'm going to have you try and guess which one it is. They're putting in a new recreational drone ordinance where the measure is being taken under city government this month. And it will require anyone flying a drone over city property to apply for permission with the police department from May to October. It would apply to commercial and recreational use. So obviously, if you're going to have a drone, they're not going to let you fly it unless you have a permit for it. This is happening in a town where I don't think there's going to be a lot of people following the law. And it is a South Jersey hotbed of a shore town. And which one do you think this could possibly be about?
Wildwood, New Jersey?
It's in Wildwood, New Jersey, dude.
I fucking knew it, dude.
Yeah. So let's just set the scene that you're a guy living in Wildwood and you just got stopped by a bike cop for not having a permission slip to fly your drone over some hot girl tanning on the beach.
Yeah, listen, we can't have that drone running into all of our all wood roller coasters. It could light it all up on fire. We haven't upgraded them since 1957, so it's essentially a fire hazard. This boardwalk's ready to go to shit. The fucking tramp car can collapse right through this. So you're gonna need a fucking permit, dude.
You're gonna need a permit. Guy just on the beach, just smoking a cigarette, just trying to fly it over top of some girl that's face down in a bikini, just tanning on the beach.
Yeah,
and he's gonna be
dude,
a
aren't you 19? Yeah, well, guess what? I'm just doing this until I get, my real job.
Yeah.
And if you don't listen to me, I'm going to potentially fucking fight you.
Just right after I put down this pounder of Bud Light, I might slap
I'm going to
you.
steal the alcohol that you have. And I know that you're 30 years old, but we're going to still slap a $600 charge on you and say that you're underage.
Yeah, you're underage. But dude, I love the fact that you can operate your drone from your phone. Drone
from the phone.
Drone from the phone down in Wildwood. And you got your phone out. And if you don't take that home and apply for a permission slip online, we're going to take your phone and your drone. Yeah, it's going to be a wild time this summer in Wildwood. Do you want to get a drone?
How many people are using drones? How many people in Wildwood can afford drones?
That was going to be one of my two questions. One, how often has this been happening to where it's a problem? And number two, who is going to follow this law in Wildwood, New Jersey?
Yeah, they don't even follow the laws about not stabbing people.
Yeah, that or drinking and driving or stealing the tram car and trampling people with it at 3 a.m., which I may or may not have been involved in a situation like that. But who is involving?
Allegedly.
Who is actually following, I should say, these laws? I mean, it's...
Nobody.
Have you not taken a look at some of the people on the boardwalk in Wildwood at any given time of day or night, do you think they're going to be applying for to require an ordinance to get a legal permission to fly their drone? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's funny to think that they had to put this into law. Like, how often is this happening that this became an issue with the, like, we gotta, well, let's pass this through Parliament, through the Wildwood Parliament.
I think that it is, and because you've worked in Wildwood and you got the accent down, I think you should try and just, the city council, they got some complaints, some broads getting peeping toms out their windows of drones, and like, you're here to explain this to the people in court, like, this is why we got to set this up, because we got a few complaints from a few broads. Is that what you think's happening?
So you want me to reenact that?
Just the guy explaining. Let's say he got pulled over by a news guy and he's getting a microphone in his face. Why are you guys doing this? And you got to explain why it's become a thing.
Yeah, so basically there's a lot of chicks around here in Wildwood. They come here for the beaches. They got their tops down, they got their tits out, and there's a bunch of dudes coming around here with their drones, and they're flying them all over the fucking beaches. Now, our beaches are about 3 to 5 miles long, to get all the way down to the water. So if people are flying their fucking drones out there and they're hovering above these broads trying to get a glimpse of their titties, it's kind of been a problem, So, we talk to the guys at Dairy Queen on the boardwalk. We say, keep an eye out. You call us if anybody's, trying to, catch some glimpses of tits down there, because we're trying to keep these broads protected. And you let us know. And, if you do a good job, we'll get you an airbrush T-shirt on the boardwalk. We got the hookups here.
Yeah.
And we'll hit a coaster afterward and just, we'll shake it all off.
Now, can you get an airbrush T-shirt of, say, someone's mum that just passed away this past summer?
That would be recommended.
Yeah.
For the services. We typically like, anybody that passes away to our Lord and Savior, we like to airbrush their name on a T-shirt, bring that to the funeral, and we lay it over the casket as if they are, a retired veteran who has since passed away.
Do you fold up the airbrush T-shirt as if it was a flag coming back from a military base in Iraq?
Absolutely, and you don't let that shit touch the ground, otherwise you got to burn it.
Yeah, you don't want to touch the ground with all of the butts of cigarettes, of Newport 100s that are on the ground.
Exactly. You might catch a needle. You don't know what you're going to catch in the beaches of Wildwood. And then, afterward, you go out, you grab a cone. You go down to Coors or the Dairy Queen, you grab a cone, and, you celebrate.
And now, do you recommend that if anybody has drone footage from years past or even very recently of said titties on the 3 mile wide beaches, should they bring that to you for further investigation?
Absolutely. You're going to want to bring that right over to the police station. Mm-hmm. Bring it over to the station. Me and the boys will kind of evaluate. We'll put it under analyses, and we'll be the judge of whether or not this is appropriate or not.
The judge, jury, and executioners on whether or not that it would be appropriate to keep that for your own private storage.
Yeah, exactly. I got a ton back at my house that I'm looking over right now. A lot of footage to get through. Pretty sticky situation. So we're going to get through all of that, and we're just going to continue to, keep an eye on things and make sure that this boardwalk is safe, and then we'll get to the stabbings and the murders, after that.
After that, and we'll get to all of the different allegations of crooked bike cops on the loose. And can you respond to one more allegation that has been thrown your way, that you have about 500 terabytes worth of flash drives full of videos from drones over beaches of the last few summers? Do you have any response to that?
I cannot confirm or deny. I'm going to have to plead the fifth, plead the sixth, whatever the saying is on that one.
You're going to stand by your 9th Amendment rights on that one, and you're going to go get
10th.
Yeah, you're going to go get a 5th down at that corner liquor store. We will not confirm or deny which one that is.
Yeah, I typically get an 8th down on the corner.
Well, you heard it here first, everybody. Councilman something O'Flanagan in Wildwood.
Here to keep your streets safe.
Randy O'Flanagan, working the streets of Councilman of West Wildwood.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, I mean,
beautiful.
That's exactly how it would go down. And we're looking to see what happens here when we bring our drones to Wildwood this summer.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. There's another one we're going to dive into. I'm going to save these last 2 stories as I spit all over my computer monitor for next week. So you guys are going to have to come back. We covered a lot here, from tiger banging whores to Wildwood council members to getting fired from comedy, a couple of voicemails. I mean, what more could you ask for?
What more could you ask for?
Yeah, make sure you call into the Bad Boy Hotline, leave us a message, shoot us a nude in the text messages. We need fellow comedians. Let us know what's in your ass this week. 856-617-4626. We'll see you guys next time.